So hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video we are going to discuss about conditional statements. In the previous video we have learnt about the use of operators in C programs, where we have dealt about the various operators which are found in the C. We have learnt about assignment, we have learnt about a relational operator, logical operator, and at the end we concluded our discussion with the discussion about the ternary operator. Today in today's topic we have the conditional statements in C. What is conditional statement? Before coming to the native definition of conditional statement, let's have a glance or let's have an idea of what is conditional statement all about in a very rough way. Okay, now see, to understand this, let us assume that we have a code. Okay, we have a code or we have a question where we have to design a program where the code will print output of the sum of two numbers or the difference of two numbers based on user's input. Okay, so here we have a code to add also and subtract also. A and B. But the condition is that at a time either sum is displayed or at a time the difference is displayed. Now who will decide what is being displayed? The user will decide. Okay, at a time only one will be displayed, and what will be displayed will be depend upon the user input. Suppose the user wants to find the difference, so user will give the input accordingly to get the difference. Suppose the user now wants sum to be displayed, so the user will give input accordingly, so the sum will be displayed. Now when the sum is being displayed, the difference code will not be executed. Why? Unnecessarily it will execute, right? So when the sum is getting executed, the difference code is omitted, and when the difference is getting executed, the sum code is omitted, like, right? So this is conditional statement where the execution of a part of the code depends upon the user's input. The user is having a choice, so according to that choice the program is executing, and the part which is not required is not getting executed. So this was a rough idea about conditional statement where the operation or the execution of lines of a code depends upon the user's input. So let's come to the technical definition of conditional statements now. See here. So let's read. The statements which the compiler executes only if a given set of condition is satisfied is called conditional statement. What is conditional statement? Let's repeat. The statements which the compiler executes only if a given set of condition is satisfied, right? So when the user wanted the sum of two numbers, he gave sum as input, that we want to find the sum. So at the sum, when the computer was calculating the sum, the difference code was omitted, right? So only a part of code of the entire code is being executed and the part is being omitted, right? So this is conditional statement which allows the compiler to execute only a part of a code depending upon the condition, and also omitting a part of the code depending upon the type of condition. So how do we implement conditional statement in our C program? We implement conditional statements in our C program in three phases: by using the if-else statement, by using the nested if-else statement, and by using the switch case statement, and also by using number 4, ternary operator. We have learned about what is ternary operator, right? The operator which works with 3 operands. In the previous video we have learned what is ternary operator, right? So we can implement conditional operation in our program by using 4 ways, that is the if-else statement, the nested if-else statement, switch case statement, and ternary operator. Ternary operator we have already discussed in the previous video, that is lecture number 4. These two things, that is the nested if-else and the if-else statement, we are going to discuss today. Okay, and this one will be coming in the next video, that is lecture 5. Otherwise the video will become long and you will not concentrate. Okay, so today we are going to discuss two things, that is if-else statement and nested if-else statements. So let's see what we have in if-else statement. So let's see here. Before coming to if-else statement, let's have a very rough idea about what is this. See, if-else statement checks one condition. If part consists of a condition, if that condition is true, very good, if part is being executed and the else part is omitted. Now if the condition present in the if part is false, at that time only the else part is executed, right? Because the condition is false. So let's read the definition now. After this we will see the syntax. Okay, so let's have a look at the statement. What is the definition of if else? See, if else statement in C is used to perform operation based on some specific condition. As I have mentioned, after the if there is a condition present, after writing the keyword if, there is a condition present, and if that condition is matching, then the if block is executed, otherwise the else block. See, if the operations specified in the if block are executed, see, the operations specified in if block are executed if and only if given condition is true. The given condition has to be true for it to be executed, otherwise the else part is executed. If the condition is false, the else part is executed. So let's have a look at the syntax, and then we will see a program with the if else statement where we will be able to understand it more clearly. So let's have a look at the syntax. Okay, let's see. Here it is the syntax of if else statement. What is the if else statement syntax? See, so here we have to write if, which is the keyword. Okay, we already know what is keyword. Okay, so this is the if keyword. Then in the bracket we have the condition to which has to be either true or either false. Okay, so if the condition is true, this part will be executed, and this part will be executed, and this part will be omitted or ignored. And if the condition is false, then this part is executed. So you can call it as case 1. Okay, you can call it as case 1, and this is case 2. That is when if is false, that time the else is executed, and when the if is true, then the else is omitted. Okay, now see, we can also use if without a else if we have to test a single condition. Now suppose we have to check if a variable a has a value 1, then print variable a is 1. So we have to check if value in a is 1. If not, do nothing. Okay, so if not, do nothing. So how do we implement this do nothing? We will just keep the else part. So how we will write? So if a equal to 5, this is the equality check. We are using double equal to. We have learned in the logical operator, right? So equal to. Okay, I'm sorry, this is the relational operator. Okay, not logical. So if this part is true, then you have to printf a equal to 5. Else part we will skip because we have to do nothing if not equal to 1. Okay, if equal to 1, then print a is 5, else do nothing. Okay, so we can also use a if without a else. Okay, that means single if is also able to be used if you want to check a single condition. Okay, very good, we have understood the syntax. How will we write the syntax? We write the if, then the condition here, whether the condition is true, then if part is executed. If condition is false, the else part is executed. Now see, we will write a code in our VS Code, so we can implement this syntax of if else. So let's go to VS Code now. So let's come to VS Code. So this is our VS Code. I have a code written here. Let's erase this. So this is my code in VS Code. So don't save this. Okay. So this is my VS Code terminal, and we will write a code. So let's see the question here first. Okay. Let's see the question over here. So the question is, find the maximum of two numbers using if else. So very simple how we do this. So let's go to VS Code now. So we are in VS Code. So let's do the prerequisites, which is main. So how do we start? We will declare two variables, say int a equal to 10 and int b equal to 100. Okay, now we will compare these two numbers using if. So if a greater than b, then printf a is greater. Okay, otherwise else printf b is greater. So if a is not greater, that means b is always greater, right? If there is not a case of equal to, let's omit that case for the time being. So if a is not greater, then b is greater, right? So a's value is 10 and b's value is 100, so obviously b is greater and the else part will be executed. Let's see. I'm sorry, I did a mistake, I guess. No. So see, b is greater, answer is coming, right? So if you minimize this, see, b is greater, why? B equal to 100. Okay, so if we want the if part to be executed now, okay, if we want the if part to be executed, let's change the 10 value to 1000 or 10,000. So that means a is greater, right? So let's execute this and see our output. See, it is coming, a is greater. So our if else structure and syntax is correct, and we can code like this simply by using if else. Okay, so let's see the next thing which we have in our topic. Okay, let's go to the slide part. So we are in our slide, we have completed this, that is the maximum of 2 numbers using if else. Okay, now let's see our slide, what we have next. See, now we have the if else if else. Okay, you can also write if else if and then else. See here, it is an extension to the if else statement. Let's read the definition only and we can understand what we mean by that. Okay, see, it is an extension of the if else if statement, or you can also call it as if else ladder. Okay, what happens here? Let's read. If else if ladder statement is an extension to the if else statement. It is used in the scenario where there are multiple cases to be performed. Multiple cases to be performed, that means multiple conditions to be checked. Multiple conditions to be checked. Okay, it is used in the scenario where there are multiple cases to be performed or multiple conditions to be checked. Okay, so in if else ladder, what happens later? In if else ladder, if has a condition always. If a condition is true, then statements defined in if block will be executed. If the condition of if block is not true, then if some other condition is true, then the statement defined in the else if block will executed. There is another condition, so that block will be executed if that is true. And if none of the conditions are correct, and at last if none of the condition is true, the statements defined in else block will be executed. There are multiple if blocks possible. So let's understand the syntax now. You will be able to understand. Okay, so here I am going to do the syntax. Okay, so syntax looks like this. See, if a greater than b, then this part here is a code. Else if b greater than a, here is a part. Then at the down only, I have no space here, so I am writing over here else, then a code over here. So what did I do? If a is greater than b, do this, then this part will be omitted and this part will be omitted. Okay, if b is greater than a, then this part is executed. Okay, if this is also false, then and this is also false. If is also false, if part is also false, and else if part is also false, then the else part is being executed. We can do this in many ways, and there can be multiple else if. Okay, so if you want me to explain a bit more better way, let's make some space. Okay, let's see if we have space over here in the next slide. Okay, we will do this problem. Let's understand the structure of if else. See here, suppose we have to compare 3 numbers. This program only I am explaining it roughly over here, and then we will code. Okay, suppose we have to compare 3 numbers, say a, b, c. Suppose we have 3 numbers, say a, b, c. So if a is greater than b, okay, we have to check, or we have to find the maximum of three numbers, okay, using if else if else. So let's explain it. So we have three numbers, say A, B, C. These variables contains are numbers. So how will we compare or how will we find the maximum of this? So we will write like this: if A is greater than B, okay, ampersand. If A is greater than C, that means A is greater than B, and B is, and also A is greater than C. That means printf A X. Okay. Now if we check B, we will write else if. We will write B greater than A, ampersand B greater than C. So what will that mean? That will mean that printf B max. Clear? Now if we want to check if C is also greatest, okay, we will write else if. We can add else if like this multiple number of times. Else if same with C greater than A, ampersand C greater than B. So for that time we will print, we will printf C max. Now if everything is equal, A, B, C, all the three numbers are equal. So what will we do for that? We will write it in else. Else printf equal. Right? So if A's value is greatest, so this part is executed, and that means else if else is omitted. Okay, now if B's value is more, that means if is false, B is getting executed, that is this block will execute, and this else is getting omitted. Okay, now if C is greatest, this one is executed. So like that, if is omitted, else if is omitted, and else is also omitted. Now if all the numbers are equal, that time else is getting executed and all these three parts are not executed. Clear? So let's do this in our VS Code, and we will take the input accordingly and we will see how it works. So we are back in VS Code, and let's declare another variable C to hold some value. Okay, so int C equal to 3, and let's change this value to 1, 2, 3 for uniformity of the program. So here one condition is being checked, that whether A is greater than B. We will now compare A with C. Okay, ampersand if A greater than C. Okay, so A is greatest, let's change this to greatest, TEST. Okay, now we will write else if, again a bracket, B greater than A, ampersand again B greater than C. So we will print B is greatest. Okay, now we will write else if C greater than A, ampersand C greater than B. Okay, so at that time we will print printf C is GREATEST. Okay, now at the end, if all the inputs are equal, at that time we will print else printf, because we have no conditions to check further. It will be either be greater, either be lesser, or be equal. So right, so only one condition remains, that is equality. So we will write equals equal numbers. Okay, so let's start with the if part first. Okay, so what will happen, I will make A to be the 10. Okay, now let's run this. So some error is coming, I missed a semicolon, I guess. Yes, let's see again. I guess I missed a semicolon. Where is it? In line number 8. okay, in C over here. So let's see now. So it is printing A is greatest, right? Now if we want the B part to be executed, let's do it 20. So the else if first else if will be executed, right? See, B is greatest, right? Now if we want C part to be executed, let's change it to 30. Okay, so last else if will be executed, so it will print C is greatest, right? So this way the program works. Now if we make all the numbers equal, now let's change it to 30 and also this 10 to 30. Now the else part will be executed because all the conditions are failing, and so equal numbers, right? So I hope I have been able to explain you correctly about the if else if statement, how the else part works and how the additional else if part work. Now let's move to the slide again, back once again, and let's see the next item which we have. So we are back in the theory part, the slides part, and let's see what is the next item we have. Okay, so we will now discuss about the nested if else statement. So what does nested if else statement mean? When we have a if else block within a if block, that is called the nested if. That is, the if block is nested within some other if block. Now to understand this, let's consider an example. Suppose we have to find if the number a or variable a is greatest of variable b and c. Suppose we have a equal to 5, b equal to 1 and c equal to 3. Now we have to check if a is maximum or not. So we can do this in two ways. We can use it with a single if also, and we can use it with nested if also. Okay, so how do we do it with single if? So if we want to do it with a single if, we can do it with the logical operators which we are already familiar of. It will be a if a greater than b, ampersand a greater than c. So what does that mean? If a is greater than b, this one is true, and if a is greater than c, this one is true, then it will print as a max. Done. This is with single if, where we are using logical operators, which is the AND operator. This is the logical AND. Okay, so what will the compiler do? Compiler will check this if a is greater than b. If this is true, okay, that is AND operator. If a is greater than c, this is also true, okay, then enter into this block and print f a is max. Now if the compiler finds that a is greater than b, if this is false, in case this is false, not in this case, if in case the compiler finds that a is not greater than b, if this is block, if this is false, the second condition will not be checked also, and the compiler will simply ignore this if block and then proceed with the further lines if it is present in the code. Okay, now this is one way of finding if a is max. There is also another way using the topic, that is nested if else. So how will we do it? So let's erase everything. Okay, let's see how we do it with nested if else. So if we will write if a greater than b, okay, bracket open. Now we will put another if, that is the nested if. If a greater than c, then only print a max. Okay, and then close. So how will the compiler work? So if the compiler will check the first condition first, if a is greater than b, if this is true, then only the compiler will enter into the second block, if block, that is the if a is greater than c. If this is also true, then the compiler will print a is max. Now if a is not greater than b, in this case let us consider if a is not greater than b. If this is false, then the entire this code will be omitted by the compiler or not be executed. So this is our implementation of nested if else. Let's open our VS Code and see our code. Okay, we have an example over here. Suppose we have to find if 16 is greater than 12 and 10. So what we will do? We can do it with nested if else. So let's go to VS Code. So we are in VS Code, we have to check if 16 is greater than 12 and 10. So let's move everything. Okay, other than moving everything, we can do one thing. Okay. Just a minute. Okay, so let's change the values to 16 is greater than 12 and make it 10. Okay, now we will do it, compare with nested if. So if A is greater than B, then only enter this block and check if A is greater than C, then printf 16 is greater. Okay, so let's implement this. Okay, so it will print 16 is greater, right? Because 16 is greater than B12 also. So the first if is satisfied, that is this one. And when the first if is satisfied, the second if is checked, right? So 16 is greater than 10. So this one is also executed, that is the condition is correct, and it will print 16 is greater. So let's print it. So see here. So as you can see, it is coming 16 is greater because all the conditions are true. Now let's go back to our theory part and in the slides, and then slide next we have the questions of if else where we can practice few. Okay, so let's go to the theory part. Yeah, so this was all about the if else and nested if else statement. Now we will have some practice questions. Okay, now out of this practice question we have 5. Let's do a very selective one and rest you can practice. I hope you can do it. Okay, so I am going to do a very selective number. So let's do the first one. Okay, let's do the second one. This even odd, I hope you can do it. Okay, I will do all the things. Okay, let's do everything. Okay, from the next day I will give you more practice question. Let's do everything for the time being. So the question 1 says write a program to check whether a number is negative, positive or 0. So we will do this very fast. So let's go to VS Code. So here in VS Code we will declare variables and then do. So we have to check whether a number is greater than 0, less than 0, that is positive, negative or equal to 0. So let us take a variable as a. Okay, we will scanf, take the value of a, comma ampersand a. Then we will check if a greater than 0, then we will printf positive number. Okay, if not, then we will print else. If a is less than 0, then it will print obviously negative number. Okay, a negative, just a minute, negative number. And at last, if nothing is true, then it is obviously a 0. Else printf 0. So that's all. So the program will accept the value of a. So let's run this. So as you can see, the program is asking us for the value of a. Let's give it a positive number, say 34. So it is a positive number. Now let's give a negative number, that is minus 12. So it is coming negative number. Now let's give a number which is 0. So it is coming 0. So the first program is done. Now let's move to the next code. For the next question we have in the theory. So the first question is solved. So I can put it is solved. Okay, let's write here solved. Next we have write a C program to check whether number is divisible by 5 or 11. This is also very simple. So we are going to VS Code. So here what we will do, number we will take as input, and we have to check if a mod I'm sorry, where is the mod? Yeah, if a mod 2 equal to 0. When you divide a even number by 2, the remainder always comes 0, which is the proof of even numbers, right? So we can do it even number over here. When the remainder comes 0, when divided by 2, the number is even, right? So even number. We don't need the else if for the time being, so let's comment it out. Okay, or let's erase this, and then else print odd number. Okay, so good enough to run. Let's run. So let's give an even number, for example 78. So even number is coming as output. Let's give another odd number, 11. See, odd number is coming as output, so code is good enough. So let's move to the next code and see what we have. So this one is also solved, so let's write it over here, solved. Okay, so the third question comes that write a C program to check whether a number is even or not. Okay, so I'm sorry, I did a mistake. I solved this one, I skipped the number 2 by mistake. So we have to check whether a number is divisible by 5 and 11 or not. So see here, given 5 and 11, so indirectly we can understand that we have to use ampersand, which is the logical AND. We have to check if both 5 and 11 or not. I guess, yeah. So let's see if a number is divisible by both 5 and 11. So let's go to VS Code now. Here we are in VS Code, so we'll just simply change the conditions. So how will we change? So it will be a mod 5 equal to 0. We will add another bracket over here, and we will also check ampersand if a mod 11 equal to 0. So we are done, and we will print divisible by 5 and 11. Okay, we will print divisible, divisible, divisible by 5 and 11. Else we will print not divisible, not divisible. Else we will print not divisible. As simple as that. So let's run this code. So the code is asking us for the value of a. Let's give it to a number which is not divisible, say 12. So it is coming not divisible. Let's give it to a number which is divisible, say 55. It is divisible by both 11 and 5. So divisible by 5 and 11. So here it is our code. It is good enough. So let's go to the next question over here. So this one is also solved. So let's write here solved. Okay, the second last, that is the fourth one. So we have to check input any vowel and check whether it is a vowel or a constant. Okay, so it is going to be a long program. We have to compare character. We have to take character as input and we have to compare character. So what are the vowels we have? Let's write it over here. Vowels. That is A, E, I, O, U. We will only compare the lowercase in this case, uppercase, and also you can manage, I think. Okay, so let's do it. So let's go to VS Code. So here again in VS Code, so let's accept the character as input. We will change A to cat type, cat, and make it to %C. We are accepting the character. Now we will change the conditions. Okay, let's erase this if block. Just a minute. Yeah, we will erase this if block. So if A equal to A, okay, then printf VOWL. Okay, it will be double quotes. Okay, and then semicolon to end. Now we will combine the other using logical AND operator. Okay, this will keep our program short and also faster. So if A is equal to A, see, we are comparing character by using single quotes, not by using double quotes. Okay, and also not by using equality. That doesn't work. Okay, so if A is equal to A, and also we will copy this part and we will paste this multiple times. Okay, this is the smart work you have to learn by coding. Okay, which makes our coding faster. So 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, 4 time, 5. So if A is compared with A, then comes E, then ampersand, then after E comes I, then comes O, and then comes U. Now see here, I did a mistake purposely over here. See here when a variable is coming in A, the character is coming in A, it will check if A is equal to A, or and A is equal to E, but a character cannot hold multiple value. So we have to change this ampersand to OR, because if only one condition is true, then only the vowel is getting printed, right? So to do this, or to erase all the ampersand in one time, there is a trick in VS Code. We have to hold the Alt button in our keyboard and press the pointers, press the point where we have to correct. Okay, so let's press backspace twice and then we will type the OR operator. Okay, and here we have to also write the OR operator over here. Oh, sorry, so OR, and so code is good enough to run. So let's give a else part also for convenience. If not vowel, then obviously it is a consonant. Consonant. Okay, so code is good enough to run. Let's run this code. So let's give a vowel as input first. So A, so it is a vowel. Let's give a consonant R. It is a consonant. Again, if you want to give any other vowel, say U, it is coming vowel. Say L, it is not a vowel, it is a consonant. So like this the code is working. Okay, so let's now go to the last code which we have, that is in the question palette. Question number 5 says write a program to find profit and loss accepting SP and CP from the user. If profit, then calculate profit percentage. So what is the formula for calculating profit percentage? We already know. It is profit equal to SP minus CP, and to find profit percentage, it is equal to profit by CP multiplied by 100. Remember, you have to take this profit percentage as a double data type, because there is a possibility of coming in real numbers. So let's do it. So what we have to input in this case, by accepting CP and SP from the user, that is the sale price and the cost price. So let's do it. So let's go to VS Code. We are in our VS Code back. So we'll do some changes over here. So like this. So int SP comma CP. Okay, then double, obviously for storing the profit percentage. PP, let's declare it PP, and now we will find the profit. Int profit equal to, it will be SP minus CP. Okay, now see, rather than doing this, rather than finding the profit, let's do a condition over here. If SP is greater than CP, that means the sale price is greater than the cost price. So that time obviously it is profit. So we will find int profit equal to SP minus CP, right? And what is the profit percentage? PP equal to profit. We will multiply profit to 1.0 to convert it to the decimal type or the real value type, otherwise it won't come. So it will be profit into 1.0 by CP, and we will bracket the whole part over here. and we will divide it by 100 to get the profit percentage, and we will printf printf profit percentage is percentage d comma and then pp. I'm sorry, it will be percentage f because it is of real number data type, so percentage f and then pp. So if else part we have to do, if this is a loss case, then we will only printf there is a loss. Okay, so if there is no profit, then it is loss obviously. And at last we have to take the input from the user about the SP and the CP. SP, okay, and then scanf percentage d comma ampersand, then comes the SP first because SP has input first, and then we'll copy this and paste this again. For CP we will do the same thing, so paste it and let's change this to CP and CP. Okay, so what we are doing, we are taking the SP first from the user, then the CP, then we are declaring profit percentage as double. Let us do this to 0.0, a pre-initialization. Okay, now if SP is greater than CP, then it is a profit case, and then profit equal to SP minus CP, then PP equal to, that is profit percentage equal to profit into profit by CP into 100. Okay, profit into 1.0 remains the profit only itself, and the decimal part counts. That's more scientific. And then we are printing the profit percentage is percentage f, and that is PP. Else if CP is greater than SP, then it is a loss case, then loss will be printed. So let's see by running the code if it's working properly or not. So it is asking us for the value of SP. Let's give it to 500, and the value of CP, if we give it to 200, and see the profit percentage is 0.015%. Okay, now if we do a loss case, that is 900 and CP is your 1200, so it is a loss case. Okay, so in this way we implement the if else statement in our program and find the profit and loss case. So let's go to our VS Code now. I'm sorry, the theory part, that is the slides. So last one is also solved, so let's write it to solve. Okay, so this was all about today. See you in the next video. In the next video we will discuss another type of conditional statement, that is a switch case statement in C, where we have the conditions defined. Here the condition was not defined, right? Here if we have to compare two numbers, we have to use the logical operators, but in the switch case we cannot use logical operators. We have predefined conditions. If only that condition is matching, then only the part will execute. That is, if a equal to 5, then only equal to execute, otherwise not. So we will see this in the next video. So till then you can practice few questions of if else statement. I will give up the links in the description. So thanks for watching, and keep learning and keep exploring.